for coming for the journey that has been making changes to this. I wanted to just walk through a few of the changes, and also I'll back up and say what it is, because you already read it, but the quick history, the goal of this, and also should acknowledge, we are joined today by Councilman Chairman Oscar Vargas. Thank you for being with us, Chairman of the Public Works Committee. The purpose of this, and I introduced this over a year ago, was to address something that I've seen and I've heard from many of my colleagues around the what happens when all of the utilities go into our roads and sidewalks to do utility work, and really just wanting to make sure that as that's happening, our neighbors, our constituents have transparency about what's happening, and that as a city, we're asking to make sure that folks have a plan. This is for all non-emergency work, for just like that they have some sort of plan for notifying residents that the work is going to happen. There's some plan for how they're going to clean up at the end of the day, and a timeline for some restoration of any property that they've damaged or touched. And we've discussed this previously, but I think we all have examples of this in our wards. I can share, one street in my ward, though I have like 20 of these examples. The road was open for so long, and the workers were leaving tools and stuff on people's yards and in the street. People popped multiple tires. They didn't have a recourse for what to do about it. And there was no plan for having this. This just creates like a simple, and I'll explain what's happened or it's been amended since this was first introduced, but just requires notice to go out for any non-emergency work, and then asks the utilities to provide a plan. DPW doesn't need to exhaustively review these plans. It doesn't add a lot of work. The goal is that it doesn't add a lot of exhaustive work to DPW. It's just we've received these plans. So then if there is a failure to submit a plan or failure to follow through with the plan, and our roads are left in disarray for a long period of time in a way that affects our constituents, there is some form of recourse that we can take. I will note a few things we've changed. One is that because of good conversations with Carissa and Providence Water, while they are not exempted from this ordinance, they are exempted from fines and fees because they're a public entity, and we don't want to impose a fee that then would reduce services to our constituents. We also really were recognizing the load on DPW and the importance of timeline and moving these projects forward, many of which are important for health and safety, like the work to replace the lead. So an amendment you've seen you should see since last time is there's no required public hearing from the council. We'll receive the list of the projects that are going through, kind of like we do the raise permits. So we'll have access to that on our agendas. And then, this amended version is really just meant to kind of streamline the process and make sure we're getting the information we need, we're requiring the information we need, but not putting any unnecessary barriers in the way. I'll also note that the ordinance will go into effect on September 30th. This is to give the administration time after the budget cycle to put the processes in place to make this work seamlessly. So we want to make sure that DPW, that the engineering team, has the time they need to get this up and going. So are there any comments or questions from committee members or from Councilman Vargas? Yeah.
Thank you, Chairwoman. No, I think this is a really good ordinance. I know you've been working on it for a long time. As you mentioned, I think it was a year ago it was introduced. Because this is a concern that we hear from our neighbors from time to time. Just, at least the perception that they see is, unnecessary work or redigging and just folks not on the same timeline. So I think this ordinance has a very clear, transparent accountability mechanism in place. It's just important work for the city, and I appreciate all the work that you did to get us to this point.
Thank you. One other quick thing I'll say, which I forgot to add, is one of the things, sorry, I had my notes and I forgot them. This was something else. One of the other minor changes was with gratitude to Cox and Verizon for walking through the process they do for when they have requests to add internet services or other cables. It's a very short process that disturbs very little. So there is if a project is going to be less than 48 hours, if it's not going to disturb very much, there is a more streamlined process for that. So I just wanted to highlight that. So,
thank you. Is this ordinance replacing or supplanting any currently
Yeah.
existing plans?
So this ordinance is updating a really old, ordinance that was already on the books, requiring some of this planning to go to the Department of Planning. And when I was trying to figure out, when I was getting a lot of complaints from my residents about the roads and the work, we looked up this ordinance, it was like, oh, we have something on the books, like, what's going on? And I called like planning, they were like, no, this isn't, it's both not that this process isn't happening, and also it doesn't make sense for this to go through planning, like, planning doesn't need to be getting this kind of information, they're not the ones like issuing the permits or doing any of that. And so it was on the books, less detailed requirements, but there was something on the books which is amending that, but it wasn't quite in my view, it wasn't quite the right process, and it was going through, the planning department, which is not the home where the utility board lives.
Thank you for that. And I have a follow-up question, which is one concern I've heard from folks is lack of adequate notice
Yeah.
when work is going to be done. And I'd love to know sort of historically how that has been addressed and how this might impact.
Yeah, so this does in, section D here, under part 2, say that the residents need to be noticed, given written notice 30 days in advance, and then again within like 48 to 72 hours. And I did speak with, a lot of the utilities to see what their current practice was, and it's a mix. And I spent some time with the gas utility to ask them what they're already doing. A kind of funny thing happened in the middle of my meeting is I got a written notice in mid-December that in the prior October, they were gonna do road work on my street, and I was like, you can't make this up, like, it came in the mail, like, mark your calendar, October 15th, 2025, and I was like, that was 2 months ago, like, that already happened. So that was one of the primary concerns I was hearing from folks, I had a number of constituents, and maybe you have as well, try to leave for work in the morning, and they had gotten no notice that the roads would be torn up, and they got stuck in their driveways, and they were like, how am I supposed to get to work? Like, this started at 7, I was gonna leave at 7:30, so just any prior notice would be. Yeah. Councilman Vargas, Chairman.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. So the notice will send to the whole block, the area, or 200?
It would go
Square
to the
feet
folks who
around.
are affected, yeah, so the way it's written is that it would go, anyone who's gonna be disturbed by
By the work?
work would get a notice.
Can I have the second question?
Oh, of course, yeah. any
So
of those-
Providence Water is changing the lead pipes,
Yeah, which is great,
but it's not Providence Water trucks, who's doing as a subcontract.
yeah,
Is this contract has to do the same thing?
yeah, it says utility company or affiliated company,
Is this was?
yeah, so it would be for whoever the contract.
Yeah, you're right, because sometimes they use a portable toilet. Sometimes they leave the portable toilet right in the middle of the sidewalk,
Yeah,
blocking the sidewalk. Sometimes they leave the pipe hole on the sidewalk, blocking the sidewalk.
yeah,
Or sometimes they leave utility, tools on the sidewalk.
yeah,
So they should use a little parking spot in the street and
yeah,
leave it there, leave the sidewalk free.
yeah.
Another question I have, I don't know if you noticed, we have a lot of telephone poles hanging,
Yeah,
so we should find out who owns these telephone poles.
yeah,
Could be Verizon, could be Cox, or could be could be Reliable Energy. So the other day, the administration was talking about, life, what's it? Public life or lifestyle, something like
quality of life, yeah.
quality life. So I'm going to be dreaming with these poles every day I see those. Every street you go by, you see at least every block has a pole hanging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I don't know what
since,
the deal is with that.
so that's something that we need to find out
Yeah.
who's responsible for it. It's time for them to start taking those away
Yeah.
or take the lines. If that line belongs to Verizon,
Yeah,
remove the line and put it to the new pole. Same way with the Cox communication,
Yeah.
remove the line, put it to a new pole
same for
and take the pole away. Because
Yeah.
it's,
No, that's a really good idea, that's something we should work on.
and sometimes you see the pole hanging almost like it's going to fall, but it doesn't fall because it's
It's
fall,
like stuck on the line, yeah,
it's
yeah,
fall, yeah, it's fall by the lines.
yeah. No, that's a really good point. I've seen that in my neighborhood too.
Yeah, it's a good ordinance, like, if, it's not changing a lot, it's like more, common sense.
Yeah, just asking for
That's-
plans, and it's
okay.
not like prescribing what the plan has to be, just that there is a plan, so there's no like tools left on sidewalks, or in my neighborhood, they're leaving tools on yards, it's just like
It's not
courtesy.
it's not a cost expensive to the contractor, a lot of money will cost them to communicate to the residents.
Well, they will need to communicate, so that is something that they'll have to do.
Alright, thank you.
Any other questions from board members? Did folks have time, so we don't have public comment scheduled for tonight's meeting, but I do wanna make sure Chris is here, that folks, read her comments. So I appreciate her coming and for sharing them. So if folks had a second, I'll make sure you have that. And then, once you have amendment, if anyone has a motion, I will accept motions. Oh, yeah, we don't have public comment on
Oh,
the
I
agenda, I'm sorry.
No
I wish
problem.
Yeah, that's why I made sure everyone took a minute to read your thing, just 'cause it's not on the agenda. I should put it on. Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Motion, so sorry,
Oh, sorry.
before you take the motion. You know that we have sidewalks projects too, right, coming up.
Yeah,
This will be affected, they have to do the same, they have to notify the whole,
oh, that's a good question. It's not for city departments,
it's not for DPW, but
Yeah, it's
DPW
not.
never go and do a sidewalk, it's the
yeah, they
contract.
do a contractor.
It will be like,
Would they be, because this is for a utility company or a related company, would we, I would have to look up how we define utility, that's sidewalks.